为什么美国这么多不同的政治专家都认为1月6号的暴动，如果最后川普在刑事上成立，而且要判重罪，才能够保护美国的民主政治？他们不容许第一个改变选举的结果，而且是用暴力的方式改变选举的结果。我们来看，重回当时的现场，在2021年1月6号，也是选举结果已经结束，而且已经底定了之后，川普没有办法接受这件事情，因为在程序上1月6号那一天，美国除了宣布结果之外，最后要由国会来确认。于是川普就在国会 Capitol Hill 旁边的广场开了一场群众造势会议。更重要的是，在那个之前，川普的支持者，这跟川普是否有关，现在变成是一个攻防战里头非常重要的一件事情。因为在那个时刻就已经有非常多的大量转发国会山庄附近的街区图，而且民众就开始串联如何设障碍，然后呢，让国会议员一个都跑不掉。哈，这里头就是当时本来在网络上里头，从现在大数据可以回头去看，在1月6号之前就已经出现了状况，但你无法证明这个事情跟川普直接有关系。然后在1月6号那一天，当这些暴徒，他不只是川普叫他们说跨过 Pennsylvania， 他不是去包围 Capitol Hill， 他不是一般所谓的抗争包围，他直接持枪干什么？就直接就进到了国会大厦里头。那为什么要吊死潘斯呢？因为潘斯按照美国的宪法，美国的副总统就是这个里头的最重要这个确认会里头的议长。作为一个当时主持的整个议长的角色，他如果不愿意配合川普，他就会让整个选举的结果通过，在法律上被确认以后，拜登就变成总统。如果他配合了川普，这个整个选举确认就失败了。所以潘斯变成当时核心的一个角色，这是为什么会搞到吊死潘斯。我们来回看当时美国历史性的一刻。
What are you gonna do?
Whatever we have to do. What do you think 1776 was?
I never thought that the protesters would actually get through the door, and it was scary.
USA!
It wasn't clear how it was going to end.
Would the United States Capitol Police be prepared to hold back an angry crowd from entering the United States Capitol? Of course, we know in hindsight the answer was no. What we saw take place in an unprecedented way was domestic terrorism.
最难以想象的是，站在风暴正中心的是美国现任总统川普。
The only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged. Remember that.
On December 19th, President Trump tweeted, quote, Peter Navarro releases 36-page report alleging election fraud, more than sufficient to swing victory to Trump. Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there. Will be wild.
His supporters understood that as the call to action that they've been waiting for since Election Day.
1月6日上午7点半，哥伦比亚特区国民兵在多个十字路口协助维持秩序，大约为340人，身上不配武器。
Federal authorities, including the Capitol Police, declined guard help. The assumption was they wouldn't be needed.
上午9点13分，川普支持者开始在白宫前演说。
12:15 p.m., President Trump urges the crowd to fight.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
You back the
38 minutes later, and a mile and a half away, as President Trump continued speaking, his supporters arrived at the edge of the Capitol and fought with Capitol Police. 30 seconds later, they were through. Thousands approached the Capitol's base and more Capitol Police. The two sides faced off. By 1:15, they clashed on the Capitol steps. It's almost exactly when President Trump concluded his speech, once again urging supporters to the Capitol.
So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America.
President Trump drove back to the White House as his supporters streamed by the thousands east to the Capitol.
He basically had a match and a can of kerosene, and he lit it.
Fight for Trump! Fight for Trump!
We walked from the White House with the Trump supporters who were marching to the Capitol, just as we got to the west side of the Capitol. There was a very small line of police and just sort of one set of barriers. And all of a sudden, we heard a bit of commotion. And next thing we just saw, these Trump supporters streaming through the barriers and onto the lawn of the US Capitol. And I just got the sense that this was about to get out of control.
I was inside the Capitol as these protesters were gathering, and we were getting reports about how much more unrest there was outside. The extent to which members of Congress, aides, people in Capitol Hill could be in danger certainly did not even come close to the radar of virtually anybody in Congress.
此时，副总统潘斯还在进行认证选举人团票的会议。
Mike Pence was essentially telling the rest of the world, I'm not in on this. It's over for Donald Trump. That, of course, set the president off.
1:30 p.m., D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser called Army Secretary Ryan McCarthy and requested an additional few hundred guardsmen, but by then it was too late. 2 p.m.
They're getting into the Capitol tonight.
Rioters violently broke into the Capitol itself.
We have been told by Capitol Police that the Capitol is in lockdown and that people cannot leave the building.
Pull them this way!
The protesters were able to rush up the stairs. Suddenly, I was looking up, and they were just everywhere. They had swarmed the Capitol building.
USA! You better run, cops!
It was just mayhem. It was total chaos. And I kept looking around for law enforcement, thinking, how on earth is this possible?
2:20 p.m., Capitol Police struggled to hold their ground.
也就是这个时刻，国会警察局长向国防部求救。
At that point, many of them walked towards the Senate side of the Capitol, and they were immediately confronted by one police officer.
他是国会警察古德曼，他故意推示威者，将这些人引去追他，保全了参议院，为议员争取时间。
The chamber went into lockdown. Mike Pence was ushered out of the Senate chamber. Most of the Senate was still in the chamber, waiting for their instructions.
President Trump could stop this with one tweet, but instead he's on Twitter attacking Vice President Pence for refusing to go along.
Hundreds of people at the top of the East Front steps of the Capitol chanting that for quite some time. I heard multiple conversations loudly and publicly. We should go in and find the vice president. We should hang the vice president.
Donald Trump put a price on the head of his own vice president. The message was very clear that somehow Pence could overturn the results of the election and hand it to Trump. They believed it.
Around 3 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon, January 6th,
Everybody stay down! Get down!
this shaky video tells the story of shaken nerves.
The House members who were on the first floor of the House had been evacuated already, but there were members in the upstairs gallery part of the chamber, and those members were particularly scared about what would happen.
I saw the Capitol Police locking the doors and starting to stack furniture and barricade us in the chamber. And it was at that point that I realized that we were trapped and that we were going to try to protect ourselves within the chamber.
We had a shelter-in-place order. They told us to use the gas masks that are under the seats.
They broke the glass?
I heard the sound of breaking glass and gunshots ring out. And then the rioters actually start trying to ram the doors down.
I thought I really should call the kids and that I was okay. At one point, my son said, "What do you mean you're okay? I can hear gunshots."
No, brother! The rioters even took away the nameplate that is on top of her suite.
Dozens of officers were injured in mob violence like this. Sticks and poles, even American flags raining down on police who were trying to keep the rioters from entering the Capitol.
His initial reaction was not horror, which was almost everybody else's reaction. His initial reaction was to watch the show.
We had an election that was stolen from us, but you have to go home now. We love you. You're very special.
When you're telling your violent supporters that you love them, I mean, it sends a message of approval.
当晚，川普在推特上公布了录影谈话。
To all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning.